Oh, what it is, yo. Oh, what's up? What's up? Listen, story time. Y'all already seen the title. I'm about to get in it, but before I do, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, all right? Story time. Here we go. I'm about to explain to you guys how me and Devin ended up in Florida. You guys know I'm not originally from Florida. Me and Devin have been down here for 7 years. Now, he is originally from Florida, and we met in South Carolina, where I'm from. Make sure you watch that video, how I met my husband. But let's get into it. When me and Devin were dating, he was still in college, and he was on the football team and track. So we moved in together, and I want to say it was like 2013. He decided to come live with me because the dorm that he was staying in at Benedict was whack. If you've ever been to Lord, y'all, I'm talking about this, and I just realized I got on a Benedict shirt. No judgment, BC, you know. Okay, so back to the story. So Devin went to Benedict. We moved in together. He was working as a bouncer at a club, which is, like I said, how we met. Make sure you watch that video. And I was a bartender. My job where I was working at had gotten shut down. Make sure you watch that video too about the places that I was working at. That's a crazy story. He ended up losing his track scholarship. So we was like, okay, you gotta get a job until you can get back in school. He decided that he wanted to go to truck driving school. Okay, go get your CDL, babe. I got you. I got your back. Babe goes off to go get his CDL. I'm still there. Me and Cameron, I'm working in property management as a leasing agent. When I say the struggle was real, y'all, the struggle was real. Like, I was driving an Impala at the time. That Impala was so raggedy. It had been through so much stuff. I remember I used to have to get up, go to take Cameron to school in Irmo, drive all the way back across town to northeast side, go to work, leave on my lunch break to go get him. Sometimes I would sneak him back to my job because I couldn't afford aftercare, and I didn't have anybody to watch him. So I would sneak him into my job. And he would be sitting in the, like, if you've ever been to a leasing office, you know, they have like a little area where there's furniture, where how our leasing office was set up. When you come in, you have the little seated furniture area to the right, but to the left, which was where most people went, there were the agents and the manager. So I snuck him into the right while I was working over to the left, and it worked out because I only had like 3 or 4 more hours of work, and he would actually be taking a nap. He was in kindergarten at the time, so after kindergarten, you know, for toddlers, it's like they don't work the full-time job. Bro was over there asleep. Okay, back to Devin. He went to, was it Indiana? Lord, I'm trying to remember, y'all. I think it was Indiana to get his CDL. They were gonna pay for him to get his CDL. He was staying in this raggedy behind hotel. My baby was eating ramen noodles from the gas station and sardines, like all type of nasty crap. Like, I felt so bad for him, but how my husband is, y'all, my husband is a G, and he is a trooper, and he would do anything to make sure that his family was taken care of. So for him, he was like, I ain't got no choice. Let me just do it, you know, get it over with, let it be said and done. So he did it. He took his CDL, and he ended up not passing. So they said that he could take it again. He came home for about a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then he went back. And I could tell he didn't want to go back, but like I said, my husband will do anything to make sure that we're taken care of. So he went back. Lord, he shouldn't have went back. One night he called me. Now, just so y'all know, were we married yet? Oh yes, we were freshly married. Nobody knew that we were married. Keep this in mind. Well, did my parents know? I think my parents might have known, but, oh, you know what happened? I told my dad while he was off getting his CDL. That's what it was. I told my dad while he was off getting his CDL, and my mom found out a couple of days right after we had gotten married. So his parents still didn't know. And I was like, you know what? Let's just wait to tell him. You know, he wasn't trying to hide me, but I was scared for him because it's like, college student, your parents sent your behind up here to get an education. Number one, you already done messed up your scholarship, and you're not in school no more. Now you talking about you done got married. Listen, okay. So I was like, okay, let's just wait. Let's get our lives together a little bit before we be like, yeah, we married. And I know at the time it should not have mattered. I'm older and I'm wiser, y'all. This was like 8 years ago. Devin in Indiana. He calls me. Bro had done started drinking. And I'm like, Devin, what the hell? Like, what is going on? So he drinking. And I'm like, okay, I have to get ready for work. Let me go. He kept calling me. And he kept calling me. And he kept calling me. And I'm like, what do you want? So eventually I blew it up on him. I blew up on him so bad. Like, dog, stop calling me. You don't want anything. You questioning what I'm doing because you seen that I went out on Facebook. It was something crazy. And still to this day, I cannot even remember what he was so pissed off about. But I know he was mad. And when I say he was mad, he was mad. And he just was, and I could tell that he was drinking. So I was trying not to be too upset at him. I was just like, you know what? I can't talk to you right now. I have to get ready for work, whatever. So something told me to call him back on my way to work. I called him back. And his phone kept going to voicemail. I called him again. His phone kept going to voicemail. I'm like, okay, something is not right. So when I got out of work, his phone went to voicemail again. So now my heart beating. I'm scared. My father's an attorney, so I already knew what to do. I called the jailhouse that was there. Tell me why my husband had done gotten locked up. Why, you ask? Because there is a hotel. There was a laundry area in the hotel that he was staying in. Somebody, or so he thought, somebody had taken his blanket from that laundry area and he could not find his blanket. This man was going off about his blanket. The people came out and they was trying to tell him to be quiet and he would not be quiet. Now this is the secondhand story that I'm getting, of course, because I wasn't there. People telling him to be quiet. He would not be quiet. So they called the police on him. Why they did that. And y'all know I'm telling this story and I can laugh about it now, but with all the stuff that's been going on in the world, I am very grateful to say that I still have my husband here with me, because this could have gone tragically wrong. They tased him. He ended up getting locked up. He was only supposed to be in there for like 2 or 3 days. He ended up staying in there for a whole week because he was like, if I don't stay, I'm going to have to come back. And, you know, he didn't live there. He lived in South Carolina. He's like, I would have had to come back, do all this stuff with court. He said, I just stayed and served that week in there. And he was like, that was one of the most miserable times of his life. It was horrible, you guys. So at this point in time, our lives are falling apart. I'm calling his mom. I'm calling his dad. We're trying to figure out how to get him. I'm telling my dad, because, you know, my dad's an attorney. Like, what do we need to do to get his ass back home? So we got some money. We sent him a ticket. We got him back home. He did get his CDL, which was a good thing. The bad thing was he came back home with a damn record. So now he's back home and we're trying to work through our issues. And at the same time, it's like, okay, you need to get a job. And he was saying, you know what? I don't want to do CDL because I realize that being away from you, being away from our son is just really not something that I want to do. Okay, cool, no problem. So he's trying to find a job. Meanwhile, every time he applies somewhere, his recent record is popping up. So it's a struggle. And I'm just like, damn. Now I'm trying to feed all of us, meaning an apartment. I got a car. I'm trying to get another car because my Impala keep breaking down. Like, the struggle was real, y'all, okay? So eventually we got so far behind on the rent that we had gotten served eviction notices. We had been to court. At this time, my car is breaking down. I was able to get a new car, but because I wasn't even making enough money to be able to pay our rent and the bills in the house, that car got repossessed less than 6 months after I had it. Crazy, right? Thank God it's not on my credit, but so that happened. This is the thing. His mom called me one day and she said, you know what? My son needs to come home. And I'm like, okay. And I couldn't really say, well, I can't give you my husband. So I was like, okay, you know, let me call you back. Me and Devin had a conversation. I said, you need to tell your mom that we're married. He was like, I know. So he ended up telling his mom that we were married. Mind you, this conversation happened while he was still in Indiana. So as he's sitting in jail, he has to tell his mom that he's married to me. So he cannot leave me and Cameron in Columbia and go back to St. Pete, Florida, where he's from. So then she called me. And I already knew this was the phone call, y'all. Sip. Before I keep going, make sure you hit subscribe, okay? I already knew this was the phone call because she was like, Well, hello, daughter-in-law. Y'all, let me tell y'all, I love my mother-in-law. When I say I love her, she ride for me. She love, that's my girl. I love her. I absolutely love her. She said, okay, so it looks like you need to be packing your things. And I was like, wait, what? She's like, yeah, y'all need to come down here. There's nothing for him up there. He's not in school. That is not what I sent him there to accomplish. Everything is falling apart. And so I'm like, damn. All right, let us think about it. Let us think about it. Let us talk about it. After Devin gets home, of course, from Indiana, we done sent him a bus ticket. He done got home. We trying to figure out life. Nothing's working. He was working at Amazon, exhausted, like trying to do Amazon and another job. Like, we just couldn't hold it up. We could not keep it together. Again, we were young, freshly married, party lifestyle, even though we did stop partying once we realized that life was real and we had to pay bills. But it wasn't working. So one day, we sat down, we had a conversation, and he was like, you know what? I know this is your home. I know this is where your family is, but there's no resources. And as your husband, I'm supposed to make sure that I take care of you, and I can't do it here in this situation. We're going to have to go back down to Florida. And I'm like, you want us to go and live with your mama? And as I think about it, as I tell this story, one thing that we have to understand is there is nothing wrong with starting over, number one. Number two, if you got to go and stay with your mama until you get your life together, then that is what you have to do. Number three, anybody that's talking junk about you going back to go stay with your mama to get your life together, ask them, do they have a place for you to stay? Ask them, can they get you a job? Ask them, can they help you get a car? I'll wait. Okay. We rented a white minivan. Everything that I owned, you guys, had to go into that minivan. Meaning half of the stuff that I owed you guys was gone. It was lost. Not even lost, like we had to throw it away. It couldn't fit. Everything that we needed had to go into that minivan. We packed up all of our stuff. We stopped by my mom's house so I could tell her goodbye. Stopped by my dad's house so I could tell him goodbye. And we had to do this in a matter of days. Because like I said, we were getting ready to get evicted. Stuff was going down when Devin was gone. It was crazy. We was getting ready to get evicted. We had like a little bit of time. When I say this was the most life-changing experience that I've ever had, like, unless you experience having to pack up all your stuff at the drop of a dime and move it to another state, y'all, like, you know, and it was traumatizing at first. We argued. I was like, I'm not leaving. I'm not going nowhere. Then I had to get myself together and be like, girl, you are a wife now. Like, come on. Your husband is trying to take care of you. He's trying to make stuff happen for y'all. Like, get it together and go. So we packed up everything in his van. We got on the road, and 8 hours later, we were officially Florida residents. He was already a Florida resident, but I was officially a Florida resident, me and Cam. And it was crazy from there. We ended up living with his mom in how many bedrooms that house had? 3-bedroom, 1-bath house. Now, just a little bit of background. My husband has twin brothers that were in middle school at the time when we first moved down here. So they ended up having to share a room with his mom. His cousin from another state was already living with his mom because she was trying to make some life changes. So she had one room. So me, Cameron, and Devin had a room. This room had no closet. Like I said, there was 1 bathroom. It was insane, y'all. So when I tell you that I started over from scratch. We came down here with no jobs and no money, and we were not in school. Now, I'm telling you guys this story, and it sounds funny and it sounds crazy, but at the end of the day, I really hope it's encouraging to somebody who's like, oh my gosh, I'm losing everything, I have to start over. There's absolutely nothing wrong with starting over. You have to do what you have to do, okay? Fast forward, next month is our anniversary, so we will have been married for 7 years. Together for 8 years. Make sure y'all watch that video on how I met my husband. And now things are awesome. My husband graduated with an associate's degree, then he turned around and he got a bachelor's degree. I just got my real estate license. We now have 4 kids total. Like, life is rocky, life is crazy, life is bumpy, but at the end of the day, everything works out. Trust me, if God has his hands on you, and God sure did favor us, because we are beyond blessed, and even more so blessed that we had a great support system. Even though his dad is in Georgia, his dad was awesome. He called us, he checked on us, he sent us money. Like, we made it because we had a great support system and we had God. So if you're watching this and you listening to this story, understand that it's funny and it's insane. It's very true, but we made it. And if we can make it, you can make it. I love y'all to life. Make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.